The 2018 Mercedes-AMG E63 S Wagon. Practicality, comfort, and speed. It's a difficult combination to achieve, especially in the US, where customers are usually only offered two of these characteristics, but not the third. Compounding the problem is the fact that on these shores, practicality is almost always equated with a crossover or SUV body style, which is obviously less than ideal when it comes to performance duties. Mercifully, Mercedes-AMG has a whopper of a solution. It's called the E63 S Wagon, and it's based off the four-door rocket sedan of the same name. Merc first introduced the E-Class in 1993, with the latest 5th-gen model ushered in for the 2017 model year, and incredibly, the brand has decided to continue to offer the E-Class Wagon in the US. Even more amazing is the fact that stateside high-speed thrill seekers can get their fix with the E63 S Wagon iteration, which gets all the opulence, interior tech, exterior style, and overpowered performance as the E63 S sedan, but with extra space in the hatch to boot. But let's just jump right into the specs that matter most, shall we? Under the hood of the AMG E63 S Wagon is a twin-turbo 4.0-liter V8 gas burner, pumping out an astonishing 603 horsepower. Routing output to the ground is a 9-speed automatic transmission. It's enough muscle to push this wagon to 60 miles per hour in as little as 3.4 seconds, while the upgraded performance suspension system keeps it all in control. Step inside, and you get a familiar look and layout, infotainment system, and the usual premium features. Sounds amazing, if you ask us. But the wagon body style can still be a tough sell in the US, even with just over 600 ponies on tap, which begs the question, what's this thing really bring to the table? Continue reading to learn more about the 2018 Mercedes-AMG E63 S Wagon. Exterior. Funny enough, I'd wager most American bystanders won't know what hit him when this thing rumbles by. The exterior styling isn't as overtly flashy as most stateside toys with over 600 horses, especially when you consider the connotations tied to the elongated roofline of a wagon. But for those who know, this thing announces its presence with a slew of classic AMG performance cues. Mercedes says it employed a team of aerodynamics experts and traditional auto designers to collaborate while fashioning the E63 S Wagon's exterior look and shape. The result is the usual AMG boldness and Mercedes gloss, plus a performance-oriented lift balance, which basically means more high-speed stability. Mercedes-AMG E63 S sedan pictured on the left, Mercedes-AMG E63 S Wagon pictured on the right. As you can see, there isn't a hole to distinguish between the sedan and wagon variants, save the obvious bit in back. As you can see, there isn't a hole to distinguish between the sedan and wagon variants, save the obvious bit in back. In front is the same muscular, sinewy hoodline, with shapely headlights lined with bright daytime running lights. A broad trapezoidal grille fills the middle portion, while below is a flared-out bumper with deep side intakes and a black lower splitter section. Chrome lines the three-pointed Mercedes badge and bisecting wing in the grille, while an AMG badge is etched into the driver's side tip. Mercedes says the front bumper design was inspired by a jet wing, and supposedly offers cooling technology plucked from its various motorsports programs, but I feel the look is used primarily to emphasize the ludicrously powerful engine hiding under the hood. Polished metal is a common theme, with sinewy lines and curvaceous angles used throughout. Moving to the sides, we find simple profile lines, although the angles add a dash of sportiness here and there. The side skirts bring it visually closer to the ground, while the lower character line rises from the bottom of the front fender towards the middle of the rear wheels and upwards towards the hatch. Meeting this is a somewhat straight belt line, while the window line, decked out in a polished metal surround, pinches towards the rear. Just below the A-pillar is an AMG swish mark. In the corners are plus-sized AMG wheels, while subtle roof rails add a bit of traditional wagon flair. In back, the rear spats rise up into lower bumper, adding an extra horizontal layer to the rear end. The most prominent feature back here, beyond the sizable rear hatch, of course, are the chrome elements added to embellish the quad exhaust pipes, which use a squared-off appearance and double outlets per side. Between the pipes is a rather aggressive diffuser element, which is also lined in chrome. Above the exhaust tips are horizontal red reflectors, which lead the eye towards the wraparound taillights, which is connected by a single polished metal strip. Finally, a trailing edge roof spoiler extends the roofline even farther. Although easy to dismiss when placed amongst other midsize European offerings, Mercedes-AMG did a good job mixing power, presence, and refinement. Get close, and it's obvious the E63S is no mere station wagon. Although easy to dismiss when placed amongst other midsize European offerings, Mercedes-AMG did a good job mixing power, presence, and refinement. Get close, and it's obvious the E63S is no mere station wagon. It should also be noted that the exterior dimensions are now 1.1 inches wider than before, with flared-out fenders, bigger wheels, and even a wider track for the front axle. This not only makes the car more muscular, but helps with handling as well. More on the handling in a bit. The competition. Porsche Cayenne Turbo pictured on the left, Audi 6 Rupees Avant Performance pictured on the right. To put it mildly, the Mercedes-AMG E63 S Wagon is a bit of an oddity here in the US. To find an adequate comparison, you're gonna have to look beyond US borders. With that in mind, we've included the Audi 6 Rupees Avant Performance in the list of competitors, which should provide a nice contrast for our European readers, and a decent benchmark for the stateside audience as well. And since this Mercedes model is all about mixing high-end speed, luxury, and practicality, we also decided to toss in another German product to compare it to, the Porsche Cayenne Turbo. Granted, the Cayenne Mo gets a high-riding SUV body style, so it's a bit of an apples and oranges situation against the AMG E63S, but that's how it goes when dealing with something as niche as a 600 horsepower luxury wagon. In terms of styling, the Cayenne looks like a beefed-up 911 that's been hitting the weights and protein powder with zeal. With that out of the way, let's look at the Porsche. This is a mid-size crossover we're talking about, so the exterior dimensions are understandably quite a bit larger than the E-Class, but we're rolling with it anyway. In terms of styling, the Cayenne looks like a beefed-up 911 that's been hitting the weights and protein powder with zeal. The front end is classic Porsche, with triangular headlight housings and curvaceous lines that push the whole thing forward visually. The grille is broad and rectangular, bookended by complementary intakes on both sides, plus additional lighting. The grille slats, turn signals, and bumper lights are all arranged horizontally, adding a bit of visual width. The profile is traditional SUV, with a tall stance, high belt line, and flat roofline. The character lines add even more beefiness, and draw the eye rearwards towards the squared-off tail. The Audi 6 Rupees Avant Performance definitely has a DTM for the road high-octane look going for it. Exterior features for the Cayenne include LED lighting up front, as well as 4-part illumination in back. There are quad exhaust pipes poking out from the rear valance, sporting rounded outlets and chromed-out tips. Attached to the top of the hatch is a roof spoiler, with an integrated brake light running along the trailing edge. The wheels enhance the SUV's 911ness thanks to their styling, with sizing up to 21 inches in diameter offered. Further styling touches can be had with the Porsche exclusive personalization program. Now let's check out the Audi 6 Rupees Avant Performance. This thing is definitely a lot closer in the exterior dimensions to Mercedes wagon, and it's got equally bold styling as well. The exterior is decked out in RS-specific styling cues, including massively flared wheel arches, larger intakes in the front bumper, a sizable front splitter, a honeycomb grille design, a rear diffuser, a rear spoiler, and side skirt extensions, all of which combine to give it a DTM for the road high-octane look. The body sits low to the ground, hunched over plus-sized wheels wrapped in low-profile tires, while the headlights get slim daytime running lights that give the fascia an aggressive demeanor. Looking at all three of these models back-to-back, I'm most impressed by the Audi. I love the muscularity and sleekness that it offers, combining the usual four-ring style with a heady dose of aggression that just works with that elongated roofline. Standout exterior features for the Audi include 20-inch wheels as standard, and 21-inch wheels as an available option. There are matrix LEDs for the headlight housings, and dynamic LEDs for the taillights. The roof rails, side view mirror housings, grille surround, and front spoiler can all be had in either a matte aluminum or titanium finish, while the twin exhaust out back comes with oval tips, finished in a glossy black color. Privacy glass is standard on the performance model. Looking at all three of these models back to back, I'm most impressed by the Audi. I love the muscularity and sleekness that it offers, combining the usual four-ring style with a heady dose of aggression that just works with that elongated roofline. The Merc looks good too, but to my eye, it's just a little too understated compared to the Audi. If I get a high-performance wagon model like this, I wanted to suggest the speed potential that lies in weight. Neither the Audi nor the Mercedes really shout about what they are capable of, but I think the Audi does a better job at dropping hints. As for the Cayenne, well, let's just say it's not the best-looking Porsche in existence. The aesthetic works well for a sports car, but it's just a little too frumpy when it's used on a crossover. I prefer my SUVs with a straight-line boldness that the Porsche lacks, and in my opinion, the rounded edges would look better if applied to something smaller. Like a 911. Exterior dimensions. Interior. While beauty is in the eye of the beholder, you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who buys a wagon simply because they think it looks better than a sedan. No, wagons are the choice when practicality and cargo space is a concern, and with that in mind, we'll start with the Merc's cargo capacity. In the European spec press release, Mercedes has announced that the E63 S Wagon gets between 640 liters and 1,820 liters of rear cargo space, which computes out to between 22.6 cubic feet and 64.3 cubic feet. With the rear bench folded up, Mercedes says the E63 S Wagon offers a total of 35 cubic feet of cargo space, which seems pretty high considering the last E-Class wagon got roughly 23 cubic feet. Either way, it's enough to justify Mercedes' boast of offering the greatest trunk space of the performance wagon segment. Granted, the performance wagon segment is pretty sparse here in the US, so for the sake of comparison, we rounded up the cargo specs on three major competing brands to give you an idea where the E63 S Wagon lies amongst offerings with the same body style. Some are a little old, but like I said, wagons are pretty rare around here. Cargo volume specs. Note, all figures given are with the rear bench in the upright position. In the European spec press release, Mercedes has announced that the E63 S Wagon gets between 640 liters and 1,820 liters of rear cargo space, which computes out to between 22.6 cubic feet and 64.3 cubic feet. Part of the difference lies in the different ways in which cargo space is measured between the European and US standards, but that 64.3 cubic feet number should give you a rough idea what the E63 S Wagon can offer with the rear seats folded down. Inside is the usual Mercedes smoothness, refinement, and relative simplicity, all of which is complemented by soft touch materials, contrast stitching, premium upholstery, brushed metal, and acre upon acre of composite surfaces. Either way, the rear bench for both the US and Euro spec model offer a function that allows it to be folded at a 10-degree steeper angle, essentially providing an extra 30 liters of space, or 1.06 cubic feet. This extra room is provided even with each of the three rear seating positions in use. Also of note is the rear bench's ability to fold at a 40 hours 20 minutes and 40 seconds split for even greater usability. Okay, so we've established it's practical. What about the comfort and luxury side of the equation? The look could be that of any other AMG product, with the usual Mercedes smoothness, refinement, and relative simplicity, all of which is complemented by soft touch materials, contrast stitching, premium upholstery, brushed metal, and acre upon acre of composite surfaces. In terms of layout, the E63S has an essentially identical dash and control scheme layout. Standard Mercedes-Benz E-Class interior pictured on the left, Mercedes-AMG E63 S Wagon interior pictured on the right. The lines are graceful and uncluttered, revolving around the passengers in long, drawn-out organic shapes that enhance the cabin's natural visual width. Behind the wheel is a horizontal digital screen for driver's information purposes, which seems to stretch over into the center console with an identical digital screen for infotainment duties. Quad circular vents sit in the middle, while corner vents are found near the pillars. The central tunnel is broad and offers the majority of hard buttons, knobs, and switches, as well as the primary infotainment controller apparatus. Nappa leather is found on the dash and the belt line, while the seatbelts can be ordered in a crystal gray finish if desired. Dark coloring in various shades of black and gray seem to be dominant throughout. But that's what you should expect from a Teutonic rocket ship, and from either of the front seating positions, it quickly becomes apparent the E63 S Wagon isn't messing around when it comes to its race-inspired cues and performance emphasis. The lines are graceful and uncluttered, revolving around the passengers in long, drawn-out organic shapes that enhance the cabin's natural visual width. Starting things off is the AMG Performance steering wheel. This 3-spoke, multi-function, flat-bottom unit is wrapped in black Nappa leather, and gets brushed aluminum for the spokes, as well as a prominent AMG logo etched into the bottom fork. And if you really wanna get that DTM style, you can opt into a wheel with a gray dash mark at the 12 o'clock position. The front seats are sporty sitters with large lateral bolsters to keep you snug while performing high-speed cornering. If rolling around while behind the wheel is still a major concern, you can also order yours with the optional AMG Performance seats, which get integrated head restraints as a feature. Those two side-by-side digital readouts provide the driver with all the normal road stuff, such as speed, engine RPM, safety equipment status, and the like, but can be programmed to feed you performance data as well. Measurements come in at 12.3 inches in diagonal for each of the two displays, and can be had with a carbon look if desired. 3 separate settings give you a choice for what information is displayed, and includes either a classic look, sport, or progressive. On the comfort tech side of things, there's the intelligent drive system, as well as the standard features included in the more pedestrian E-Class model. See the safety and convenience section for more information. It should also be noted that the European press release mentions the Mercedes-AMG Connect feature, which can identify parts that are in need of service, offer technical help in the event of a breakdown, make an emergency help request, and more. Bundled with it is the optional remote online system, offered as part of the Command Online feature, which allows convenience commands to be given through your smartphone. You can also get the concierge service, which offers perks like weather forecasts, stock info, and route recommendations, plus sporting events and cultural activity suggestions. This is offered free for the first year after vehicle purchase. The competition. Porsche Cayenne Turbo pictured on the left, Audi 6 Rupees Avant Performance pictured on the right. Porsche is no stranger when it comes to making a performance-oriented, sport-inflected interior. The Cayenne takes its cues from across the Porsche range, including the venerable 918 Spyder Hyper Hybrid, and it shows in the cabin. The steering wheel is a 3-spoke unit trimmed in carbon fiber, while the center console rises towards the dash in a series of hard buttons and knobs to control the car's various features. The whole thing looks like it was plucked from a fighter jet, if fighter jets came decked out in leather. In terms of practicality, the Cayenne offers a multitude of storage compartments front to back. Seating capacity is capped at 5, with 2 up front and 3 in back. On the cargo front, the rear seats fold down as needed, while the tailgate gets an automatic up-down function. Cargo capacity is rated at 23.66 square feet with the seats up, and up to 62.86 square feet with them down, which means you're not really getting a whole lot more cargo room with the large and in-charge SUV body style. The Porsche's cabin looks like it was plucked from a fighter jet, if fighter jets came decked out in leather. Standout features include brushed aluminum trim for the surrounds, Alcantara for the roof, front adaptive sports seats with 18-way adjustability, rear seats with an adjustable angle, front and rear seat heating, dual-zone climate control, a standard 665-watt Bose surround sound system and high-end optional system from Burmester, and rear seat entertainment. The Porsche Communication Management infotainment system is standard, as is the large central touchscreen, and you can get Connect Plus for a Wi-Fi hotspot. Navigation and the usual tech stuff are all included, and you can get Connect apps for easy infotainment integration to your smart device. Compared to the Porsche, the Audi seems to take a similar approach for the layout, albeit with a bit more simplification in the control scheme. This is most obvious on the central tunnel, where the gear shifter is joined by just a handful of hard buttons and knobs compared to the sea of buttons on the Porsche. The flat-bottom 3-spoke steering wheel is wrapped in leather and gets an 6 rupees logo at the bottom, while copious carbon fiber trim is added to the dash and center console. Mounted high is the primary infotainment screen, while behind the steering wheel is a digital driver's information readout. Compared to the Porsche, the Audi seems to take a similar approach for the layout, albeit with a bit more simplification in the control scheme. Standout interior features for the Audi 6 Rupees Avant Performance include sport seats with 12-way adjustability and Valcona leather upholstery, while the Performance model's carbon fiber trim incorporates a blue thread for an extra dash of style. Aluminum look metal was used for the pedals and foot rests, while the doorsills are real aluminum and come branded with the 6 Rupees logo. RS-specific instrumentation is behind the steering wheel, 4-zone climate control keeps the occupants comfortable, and an ambient lighting package keeps it looking slick at night. In terms of practicality, the rear bench folds down and there is extra storage scattered throughout the cabin. Rear cargo room is rated at 19.95 cubic feet with the rear bench up and 59.32 cubic feet with it down. On the infotainment front, the Audi offers MMI Navigation Plus with MMI Touch, MMI Radio Plus, a 7.0-inch driver's information display, DAB digital radio, Audi Music interface, a standard Bose surround sound system, and Bluetooth connectivity. With all three models offering a good amount of space, technology, and comfort, the decision on which offers the best interior rests with the look and layout, and on that front, the Mercedes walks away as the clear winner. With all three models offering a good amount of space, technology, and comfort, the decision on which offers the best interior rests with the look and layout, and on that front, the Mercedes walks away as the clear winner. The E-Class just has a slicker, more polished approach compared to the Audi and Porsche, with fewer hard buttons and switches, and more loveliness in the lines. There's a refinement to the Mercedes that its rivals can't quite match, and in this segment, those intangible qualities can make all the difference. Drivetrain. Let's get right into the good stuff, shall we? Thumping from behind that polished three-pointed star is a handcrafted AMG-tuned twin-turbo 4.0-liter 3,982 cc of displacement, to be exact, V8 engine. Even with a couple snails soaking up the spent gases, you can rest assured this thing makes plenty of pleasing dirty talk. Mercedes even went so far as to tune the exhaust to produce the characteristic AMG V8 noise specifically for the wagon model, a feature I'm sure customers will appreciate every time they go for the loud pedal. Making the boost are two twin-scroll turbochargers, a first for the model. The twin scrolls offer sharper response and a fatter torque curve, which is what you want if you're really pushing for that muscle-bound V8 throttle feel. Mercedes even tuned the exhaust to produce that characteristic AMG V8 noise specifically for the wagon model, a feature I'm sure customers will appreciate every time they go for the loud pedal. Hit max boost, and you'll be spitting out a total of 603 horsepower between 5,750 and 6,500 revolutions per minute, plus 627 pound-feet of torque between 2,500 and 4,500 revolutions per minute. As you might expect, Mercedes isn't shy when it comes to talking about this thing's output, stating the high power level provides a feeling of effortless superiority in every accelerator pedal position. Indeed. The European spec version of this car produces the same 603 horsepower, they rate it at 612 metric horsepower, and 627 pound-feet. However, take a trip across the pond, and you'll also have the option for the E63 4MATIC Plus Estate. While essentially the same car as the E63 S Wagon that we get stateside, the E63 4MATIC Plus makes a mere 571 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque, which means it's a bit slower than the S. Mercedes says the high power level provides a feeling of effortless superiority in every accelerator pedal position. Indeed. Speaking of speed, the 600-horse S can sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in a scant 3.4 seconds, equaling, or beating, such sports car greats as the Porsche 911 Carrera 4S, Aston Martin the 512 Vantage S, and Ferrari F430 Scuderia. In a luxury wagon. Awesome. Top speed is electronically limited at a seemingly arbitrary 180 miles per hour, and it makes me wonder what this thing can do with the governor lifted and proper tires equipped underneath. I'd love to hear what happens with the wagon's aero at those speeds. If you happen to live outside the US and you go for the non-SE63 estate, then expect a run from 0 to 62 mph in 3.6 seconds. This Mercedes can sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in a scant 3.4 seconds, equaling, or beating, such sports car greats as the Porsche 911 Carrera 4S, Aston Martin the 512 Vantage S, and Ferrari F430 Scuderia. In a luxury wagon. In continuation of our theme of performance mated with speed, the E63 S Wagon is also equipped with a few tricks to help its boosted V8 save on fuel. The most interesting of these is a standard cylinder deactivation system, which automatically downgrades the fire-breathing lump under the hood when you stay off the throttle for an extended period of time, such as when you're cruising down the highway. While the US press release didn't have a whole lot more to say about this, the European press release did mention that fuel economy should be around 9.1 liters for every 100 kilometers. A little quick math reveals that, around 26 mpg, which isn't great but about what you'd expect from a 600 horsepower luxury car. On the emissions front, the Euro release also states the E63S makes a combined 206 grams of CO2 per kilometer. Routing the power towards the ground is an AMG SpeedShift automatic transmission, with 9 forward gears and something called multi-clutch technology. Merc says this gearbox was specifically tuned for the wagon, both in terms hardware and software. It offers very quick shifts, plus a multiple downshift feature, while the double clutching function makes for an emotional gearshifting experience. The AWD system offers multiple driving modes and configurations, including, get ready for it, full on opposite lock RWD drift mode. No, seriously, there's a drift mode. Further transmission features include a wet clutch, rather than a standard torque converter, which helps to reduce overall weight, and sharpen throttle response as well. If desired, drivers can switch the automatic into M for a manual shifting mode, which will leave all the gear change decisions up to the paddles mounted behind the steering wheel. The 9-speed automatic feeds a permanent AMG-tuned 4-Modich Plus AWD system. This offers fully variable torque distribution between the wheels, a first for the model. The AWD system accomplishes this through an electromechanically controlled coupling that connects the rear axle with the front axle, making for permanent drive to the rear and variable torque to the front with a continuously calculated torque distribution figure. More importantly, this AWD system offers multiple driving modes and configurations, including, get ready for it, full on opposite lock RWD drift mode. No, seriously, there's a drift mode. In a 600 horsepower AWD luxury wagon from Mercedes. Ken Block who? Speaking of multiple driving modes, the E63S gets individual settings for other areas of the performance as well, all of which are provided via the AMG Dynamic Select system. These settings include Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, Race, and Individual, and should be more or less self-explanatory. Individual is a totally customized setting. Put the car into any one of these driving modes, and you'll be able to feel changes in the throttle response, shifting characteristics, suspension settings, steering settings, electronic stability control, and the AWD. Also of note is the improved traction and handling provided by the electronically controlled rear limited slip differential. This unit reduces inside wheel slip without using the brakes, yielding better acceleration after clipping that apex, more stable high-speed braking, and more ferocious launches off the line. Mercedes says the differential makes the car easier to drive at the limit, and drivers can select from 3 different traction settings using the electronic stability program. These settings include ESP on, ESP Sport Handling Mode, and ESP Off, and they work in conjunction with the rear limited slip differential and AWD system to maximize agility. Finally, Mercedes is including dynamic engine mounts as standard equipment. These seek a happy balance between cushioning the driver with the connection to the drivetrain for optimum comfort, and making a harder connection for better feel when driving fast. Essentially, they offer variable stiffness levels based on conditions, handling, and inputs, and should do well to complement the rest of the tunable driving systems already mentioned. Mercedes-AMG E63 S Wagon engine and performance specs. The competition. Porsche Cayenne Turbo pictured on the left, Audi 6 Rupees Avant pictured on the right. Like the Mercedes, the Cayenne Turbo is also equipped with a twin-turbo V8 engine, although the Porsche gets more displacement, arriving with 4.8 liters compared to the Merc's 4.0. The front-mounted engine features all-aluminum construction, direct fuel injection and variable cam timing, but despite its larger displacement rating, the Porsche is down on peak power compared to the E63 S Wagon, putting down 520 horsepower at 6,000 revolutions per minute and 553 pound-feet of torque between 2,250 revolutions per minute and 4,000 revolutions per minute. The Porsche is down on peak power compared to the E63 S Wagon, putting down 520 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque. Acceleration is clocked at a still impressive 4.2 seconds for the 0 to 60 mph time, although you can shave a tenth off that figure with the optional Sport Chrono package. Get it and you'll also receive a stopwatch timer feature for the infotainment system, not to mention sharper response from the engine. Top speed is rated at 173 miles per hour. Routing the power to the electronic center differential and permanent AWD system is an 8-speed Tiptronic S automatic transmission, which will decouple the engine when coasting to help reduce fuel consumption. An automatic start-stop system and active intakes help as well, with returns looking like 14 mpg in the city and 21 mpg on the highway. Moving on to the Audi 6 Rupees Avant Performance, the 4 Rings product is also equipped with a turbocharged V8 engine, specifically a twin-turbo 4.0-liter TFSI unit producing 597 horsepower at 6,100 revolutions per minute and 516 pound-feet of torque between 1,750 revolutions per minute and 6,000 revolutions per minute. Activate the overboost function, and who doesn't love an overboost function, and peak torque jumps to 553 pound-feet between 2,500 and 5,500 revolutions per minute. The 4 Rings product is also equipped with a turbocharged V8 engine, this time producing 597 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. Activate the overboost function, and who doesn't love an overboost function, and peak torque jumps to 553 pound-feet between 2,500 and 5,500 revolutions per minute. Properly applied, it's enough muscle to push the Audi from a standstill to 62 miles per hour in 3.7 seconds. Top speed is electronically limited at 155 miles per hour, but if you opt into the available dynamic package, you'll get the limiter raised to an even faster 189 miles per hour. Handling the gear shifts is an 8-speed Tiptronic automatic transmission, while standard Quattro AWD and a rear sports differential round out the drivetrain. Fuel consumption is rated at roughly 25 mpg, partly thanks to a cylinder deactivation system. Multiple driving modes are selectable from the driver's seat. If I were to choose just one of these engines and drivetrains, I'd probably go with the Mercedes as my first choice. Not only is it the fastest and most powerful of the group, but it also offers an advanced AWD system that can route all the power to the rear axle if desired. Each of these 3 power plants and drivetrains are mighty impressive. There's a good deal of overlap between them, with all 3 offering turbocharged V8 muscle, AWD grip, and a surprising amount of technology as well. But if I were to choose just one, I'd probably go with the Mercedes as my first choice. Not only is it the fastest and most powerful of the group, but it also offers an advanced AWD system that can route all the power to the rear axle if desired. Although the Merc isn't your traditional Hoon mobile, having the option to go full opposite lock is never a bad thing. And when you toss in that characteristically grumbly AMG exhaust note too, well, I'm sold. Chassis and handling. Having a ton of power at your command is great and all, but it's pretty useless if you can't get the car to turn properly. To that end, the E63 S Wagon is equipped with an all-new suspension courtesy of the engineers from AMG. Up front is a 4-link setup using forged aluminum for the wishbones, as well as the strut rod and spring link. In back, AMG decided to redesign the entire rear axle section specifically for the wagon application, which should help to keep it lively in the corners, even with AWD. That said, the name of the game is still the pursuit of handling prowess mated with comfortable cruising. Part of the equation is the E63's 3-chamber air suspension and continuously variable damping system. This offers the driver a chance to tweak the adjustable air springs with several different levels of stiffness, which are modified through either the activation or deactivation of individual air chambers. The name of the game is still the pursuit of handling prowess mated with comfortable cruising. Part of the equation is the E63's 3-chamber air suspension and continuously variable damping system. That means you get 3 levels of spring tune to mess around with. These are adjustable either through the driving program, or your driving style. For example, the system will make the suspension stiffer when it detects a sudden load change, hard cornering, full throttle acceleration, or heavy braking, and thus will compensate by minimizing the body roll from side to side, the pitch from front to back, or a combination thereof. As previously mentioned, the multiple driving modes offer settings like Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus, tweaking the adjustable damper settings for either maximum comfort or more enjoyment from behind the wheel. Rebound and compression are also independently adjustable, which means you can tune the settings as you see fit with the programmable characteristics map. And that's pretty cool. Usually these systems are of the fire and forget variety, and don't necessarily allow the driver to get that in-depth with the various damper settings. Rebound and compression are also independently adjustable, which means you can tune the settings as you see fit with the programmable characteristics map. Of course, if you're not one of those test and tuner types, you could alternatively just put it in race mode and forget about it. Because as Mercedes states, the race drive program has been designed for highly dynamic driving on closed race circuits and all parameters are set for maximum performance. Yep, sounds about right. Further features include the minimization of torque steer through independent wheel control. Speaking of steering, directing the thing is an AMG-tuned speed-sensitive steering system, with an electromechanical setup and a variable ratio. The power assistance it provides the driver is also variable, and is based on the current drive mode, comfort, sport, etc., while also being fully adjustable in the customizable individual mode. Providing the stops are big brakes from AMG, featuring a plus-sized diameter and lots of fade resistance. Call it a safety feature, if you'd like. Providing the stops are big brakes from AMG, featuring a plus-sized diameter and lots of fade resistance. Call it a safety feature, if you'd like. The discs are both ventilated and perforated, measuring in at 15.4 inches by 1.4 inches in front, with fixed 6-piston calipers providing the squeeze. Move to the back and you'll find discs measuring in at 14.2 inches by 0.9 inches, plus floating single-piston calipers. However, if you're really serious about stopping, as you would be if you frequent the road course, then you're gonna want the available AMG ceramic composite brakes instead. These bad boys are 15.8 inches by 1.5 inches in front and 14.2 inches by 1.3 inches in the back, and should provide you with solid stopping power lap after lap without worry. As for the European spec non-SE63 wagon, the front brakes are measured at 360 mm by 36 mm in front, or 14.2 inches by 1.4 inches, with fixed 6-piston calipers doing the pinch. In back are discs measured at 360 mm by 24 mm, or 14.2 inch by 0.9 inches, plus single-piston floating calipers. Meanwhile, the Euro Spec S model gets the same 15.4 inch by 1.4 inch front brakes as the US model. The competition. Porsche Cayenne Turbo pictured on the left, Audi 6 Rupees Avant Performance pictured on the right. It's no easy feat to make an enormous, tall-bodied SUV handle like a Porsche is supposed to, but the Cayenne Turbo does wonders all the same thanks to a plethora of individual handling technologies. First up is the standard Porsche traction management system, complemented by the Porsche dynamic chassis control system, with the latter of these systems installed to help reduce lateral body movement. Next is the Porsche Torque Vectoring Plus system, which varies the twist distribution between each wheel for nippier handling characteristics. As a replacement for the standard steel suspension setup found on the Cayenne S, the Cayenne Turbo models instead use an active air suspension system. The Porsche's Air Ride can raise the ride height and offers a self-level feature, and interestingly, it'll actually give drivers a degree of off-roading capability thanks to specific settings for the traction control, ABS, and fully locking AWD system. There's even the option for underbody protection if you wanna go full Dakar mode. Beyond the off-roading spec, the air suspension is outfitted with continuous damping and lots of adjustability to maximize cornering. There's also speed-dependent steering, while Michelin tires make it stick. The Porsche's Air Ride can raise the ride height and offers a self-level feature, and interestingly, it'll actually give drivers a degree of off-roading capability. Finally, to help it put a stop to all that mass, the Cayenne Turbo is offered with a ceramic composite braking system. Standard fitment includes 6 piston calipers with 390 mm (15.4-inch) rotors in front, plus 4 piston fixed calipers with 358 mm (14.1-inch) rotors in the rear. Like the other two vehicles profiled here, the Audi 6 Rupees Avant Performance is also equipped with an adaptive air suspension system. This is included in the standard 5-link suspension setup found for the front of the car, as well as the trapezoidal link used in the rear. Both the front and rear suspension setups use copious amounts of aluminum to help cut into the car's curb weight. Alternatively, you can replace the squishier air suspension with the optional sports suspension system, which tosses the Air Ride in favor of more traditional components made from steel. The sports suspension option also makes the ride significantly firmer. For the Audi, you can replace the squishier air suspension with the optional sports suspension system, which tosses the Air Ride in favor of more traditional components made from steel. Controlling it all is the Audi Drive Select system. If you decide to keep the adaptive air components and put the Drive Select system in the sportiest setting, it'll drop the car's ride height by almost a full inch, 0.8 inches, to be exact. The multiple drive modes are also capable of changing settings for the steering, transmission, and rear sport differential, which should have a significant impact on the way the car behaves in the corners. Options include a dynamic steering system for even quicker ratios if you need it, or you can just deactivate all the electronic nannies, such as the electronic stability control, if you prefer it like that. Throwing the anchor is an RS-specific braking system, which includes 6 piston calipers and 15.4-inch discs at each of the 4 corners. Per usual, you can get your Audi with the available carbon ceramic brakes as well, which will reduce weight and increase fade resistance. The tires are 285/30 R21 rubber stretched over alloy wheels equipped with locking wheel bolts. I'm partial to the Mercedes, especially when you consider it offers the potential for RWD shenanigans in drift mode. What's more, the Audi's stiffer sport suspension is inevitably a compromise buyers probably won't wanna make. Straight out the gates, the Porsche is at a disadvantage thanks to its hulking size, and while it's not a bad thing that it offers a little extra off-roading prowess compared to the two wagons, this isn't really a segment where rock-crawling abilities make or break an entry. With that out of the way, the Mercedes and 6 Rupees are well matched when it comes to throwing down on the racetrack. Both offer impressive handling considering their size and weight, with Air Ride suspension components, beefy brakes, lots of bracing, and a good amount of adaptability for both camps. However, even though the Audi offers option steel sports suspension components, I'm partial to the Mercedes, especially when you consider it offers the potential for RWD shenanigans in drift mode. What's more, the Audi's stiffer sport suspension is inevitably a compromise buyers probably won't wanna make. The idea of a high-performance luxury wagon is that you can do it all, load it up with stuff, sling around at high speed, and cruise in comfort, and if you take that last characteristic out of the equation, you're missing a lot. Safety and convenience. As with any high-end luxury vehicle these days, the AMG E63 S Wagon is equipped with a suite of safety and convenience technologies. Starting things off is the intelligent drive system with Drive Pilot, which offers a semi-automatic traffic jam assist with a stop-and-go feature. There's also an adaptive cruise control feature that can match the velocity of the car ahead at speeds up to 130 miles per hour, which is honestly a bit pointless if you happen to be living on a different continent than the Autobahn, but I digress. There's also tech like automatic emergency braking and a steering pilot. The speed limit pilot will be able to detect the posted speed limit using an outward-facing camera system, and let you know how fast you're supposed to be going via the driver's information display. Active brake assist helps when you go for the binders in a panic, while attention assist lets you know when to pull over for a rest. The remote parking pilot will guide your car in and out of tight spaces. There's also an adaptive cruise control feature that can match the velocity of the car ahead at speeds up to 130 miles per hour, which is honestly a bit pointless if you happen to be living on a different continent than the Autobahn, but I digress. The E63S will likely get all the other associated technologies found on the sedan version, so check out the full review by clicking here. Neither the NHTSA nor the IIHS has rated the AMG E63S in terms of crashworthiness, but the IIHS did give the 2016 E-Class sedan its top good in every category, as well as its top Safety Pick Plus award. Check it out here. The competition. The Cayenne also gets a variety of safety systems and technology. There's a dynamic lighting system, which will adjust the headlight beam level up and down as well as angle it around corners, and there's adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, lane change assist, a surround view camera system, and parking assist. Neither the NHTSA nor the IIHS has rated the Porsche Cayenne. As for the Audi, safety and convenience features include cruise control, automatic headlights and windshield wipers, keyless entry, and the usual lineup of electronic aids, stability control, anti-lock brakes, etc. And since it's only sold in Europe, stateside crash ratings obviously don't apply. Prices. In Europe, you'll be able to order the E63S 4MATIC Plus Estate Edition 1, which will be available 1 year after the standard model is launched. The Edition 1 will be covered in either Design Selenite Grey Magno paint, or an optional hue called Design Night Black Magno. It also gets the AMG Night Package, which should include the same gear issued with the Night packages for the C63 Coupe and GLE. That means glossy black for the front fascia elements, grille, and side view mirrors, a larger rear diffuser, and a custom AMG exhaust. There's also light gray striping above the side skirts, plus 20-inch 7-twin-spoke forged AMG wheels finished in matte black with a polished rim. Inside, the Edition 1 adds AMG performance seats covered in black Nappa leather and yellow top stitching for the AMG steering wheel, dash, door panels, center console, floor mats, and clock. Dinamica coverings are used for the unique steering wheel, which is complete with an Edition 1-inch badge and a black top center mark. Carbon fiber trim is used throughout. The Edition 1, Euro-spec non-SE 63 wagon, and US-bound E63S wagon will debut at the Geneva Motor Show this coming March. Sales will commence in the US this fall, with European sales ramping up in April with an official market launch in June. As for pricing, the AMG E63S wagon is expected to carry a small premium over the sedan. That means if the sedan is roughly $102,000, the wagon should slot in around $105,000. The competition. The Porsche Cayenne Turbo starts at $116,500, while the Audi 6 Rupees Avant Performance starts at €117,000, which converts to $124,716 at current exchange rates, the 9th of February 2017. Other options. BMW M5 Touring. While BMW doesn't actually make an M5 wagon, rumor has it the Bavarians will indeed add a more practical iteration of its midsize street bruiser in the near future. Maybe. Outside, the styling will look quite similar to its four-door counterpart, while the interior will be laden with luxury. But the party piece lies under the hood, where roughly 600 turbocharged horses are pumped out thanks to a V8 powerplant. Read our speculative review on the upcoming BMW M5 Touring here. Volvo V90 Polestar T8. This is another what if, but it's definitely within the realm of possibility. The Volvo V90 is a superb luxury wagon, packing tons of cutting-edge techno goodies, luxury, and good looks. Making it go as a variety of power plants, but the one we're interested in is the T8, a twin-charged, supercharged and turbocharged, hybrid 2.0-liter four-cylinder making 400 horsepower. If we're lucky, Volvo's performance division, Polestar, will have a go with it and bless it with even more go. Read the full review here. Conclusion. Okay, so I have a confession to make, I actually own a high-performance wagon. So yeah, I'm a little biased when it comes to choosing between a high-riding SUV or car like wagon body style, so take that for what it's worth. That said, the physical benefits of putting something lower to the ground with less metal are pretty obvious when talking about speed, and in that respect, the high-performance wagon looks like quite the winner. The Europeans have known this for some time now, and thankfully, Mercedes has seen fit to give us a taste with the AMG E63 S Wagon. This thing is endlessly practical, hugely comfortable, and monstrously quick. Hopefully, more stateside models will see the light and expand the segment. Audi, I'm looking at you. Love it over 600 horsepower in drift mode, in a wagon gorgeous interior packed with luxury surprising amounts of practicality. Leave it wagons are a dying breed very expensive will anyone wanna take a six-figure Mercedes wagon to the track?
If you liked this video, please share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.